is Ina. I'm a project coordinator in Louth Local Development Company. Part of my work is developing and funding programmes of learning here in the Red Door with Louise and the supervisory team, all of which is to assist recovery and personal progression. Louth Local Development Company are committed to assisting all the service users here in the Red Door on their recovery journey and are proud to be part of the special recovery community. The personal stories told in this podcast, in this recovery month, speaks for themselves.
My name is Joanne O'Dwyer and I am one of the supervisors of the day programme in the Red Door project in Drogheda. I'm here today to explain to you what Recovery Month is and to introduce 4 lived experiences of individuals from the Red Door whose podcast you're going to hear over the coming month. Recovery Month is a celebration of individuals who have found recovery from addiction or mental health disorder. There are millions of people worldwide whose lives have been transformed through recovery. Since these successes often go unnoticed, Recovery Month, which is every September, provides an opportunity for everyone to celebrate these accomplishments, to increase awareness and to further a greater understanding of mental and addiction disorders. Nationally in Ireland, thousands of people have found inspiration to face their challenges and learn about new ways to live a happy and fulfilling life. Over the course of the month, addiction treatment facilities and programmes will celebrate the accomplishments of those successfully completing treatment and beginning a fulfilling life of recovery. Recovery programmes all over the country will raise awareness about addiction treatment and share the positive stories of transformed lives. As a result, the general public will have a greater understanding of the importance of getting help for substance use disorders and addiction. This greater awareness also helps to reduce the stigma which is attached to addiction and to accessing treatment. As a result, more people find the courage to seek treatment for themselves or loved ones. We at the Red Door want to champion and celebrate the successes of those individuals who have found recovery and a better quality of life through our service. Over the month of September, you will hear 4 stories of the lived experience of individuals who have successfully found recovery through the Red Door Day programme. We really hope you enjoy listening to the stories. However, if anything you hear resonates with you and you want to reach out for help, then please get in touch. You will find our details online and we are on the Dublin Road in Drogheda. Please realise that you are not alone.
So I'm Kevin and I'm a 46-year-old father of one who came from Kilbarrack in North Dublin, which is on the north side of Dublin, probably where the Snapper, most famous, the Snapper and the Commitments and all that Roddy Doyle films were made. It's probably best known for. Yeah, so I came from that, a council estate. I was born in 76, a long time ago now, I suppose. I came from a family of 13 in my family. It's that sort of family, forced up, best dressed. A lot of good times there with sisters and brothers, and there was always something going on, I suppose. A good family environment, My father, I suppose, was a plasterer. He was a grafter. My mother was a stay-at-home mother that brought up to raise the kids and brought us out and made sure we all ate and fed and were dressed and clean and sent to school and all that sort of stuff, you do as kids. So it was a good family home, I wasn't always that way, I suppose. I wasn't always like that, as many people probably know. When you grow up in a council estate, there's always a bit of madness going on, or a bit of chaos, a bit of drama, I suppose, going on in the estate. And then I went to school. I'd always had good attendance at school. I'd have been one who was always there, always there. But I suppose I used to act a maggot as you do when you're a kid in school. I'd be always running and trying to impress people and trying to make people laugh, and the little class clown, I suppose you could look at it that way. I was a bit of a class clown. I was always looking for fun. That led right up till I was probably 13, 14 in secondary school. I sort of got a bit out of hand because I started running with the kids in the school that I always wanted to do something, going on an adventure or something. And I done that, and then I suppose my first introduction to drugs or a substance, I suppose, is I remember being kids in school, and we were all avoiding class or detention or something. I can't remember what it was, but we all went around the back to the caretaker shed, and there was a lawnmower there, and a few of the young fellas were sniffing the petrol out of it, and stupidly, I suppose, joined in, and that was my first introduction with taking something. And at that time, it felt great. It actually felt great. It was that dreamy state, and that caught up in your head and brought to a different place. And for some reason, I just thought, I found something here. I found something here that I like doing, and I continued to do that for a while. And then as time went on, I'd progress into smoking the cannabis, and it's probably not known as cannabis resin these days, but it was. It used to come in a block. It used to be the cannabis resin. I think it's probably grass or weed or something now they call it. The kids call it these days. So that led on, and that became continuous, and I sort of used to do that for a good period of time. Always messing along the way, and that went down a different line because I suppose my behaviour started to change. It was the way I was behaving at home and the way I was behaving with other people and acting out, and if that progressed as well as my drug use, as well as what I was using progressed, and the more constant it became and the more I kept on doing it, and obviously I dropped out of school and tried to find work, and that didn't happen. I couldn't hold down a job. I couldn't hold down any sort of responsibility because obviously the substance or the drugs or whatever I was using was getting in the way, and that became more important. And that behaviour sort of changed, and probably behaviour with my family changed, the relationships changed, the relationship with myself changed. And I got lost along the way, and in time, Lord and behold, we ended up going to juvenile prisons, and for many different reasons, anger mostly, or because I couldn't deal with life. I hadn't got the tools to deal with life, and I started committing crime, and I started selling drugs, and the things you do in active addiction became bigger and bigger, and I was in and out of prisons for years. Years I was in and out of prisons, and every time I got out I'd say I'd never go back again. I'll never go back again. But my behaviour didn't change. I didn't address what was going on inside. I didn't address what was going on with me. I sort of avoided it by still taking drugs, still up to the old ways, and still doing them things, and it's like I went to dark places. I went to being isolated in prison cells and being told what to do, when to get up, when to dress, when to have your dinner, when to have your breakfast, and it became part of me, I suppose. It became part of me, and I was the sort of person that You know, thought that I actually had that thing in my head that I thought that's the way things were meant to be. That's the life I've chosen, and I just accepted that, you know. I got lost along the way, you know, and in there, like in prisons, I've lost my father, I've lost my brother, I've lost, you know, numerous amount of friends through addiction, and you know, it's not meant to be that way. It's not meant to be that way, and I couldn't find a way out. But I wasn't engaging with services, I wasn't engaging with prison or education, you know. That became my way of life. You know, it became ingrained in me. That's what I'm trying to say. It became ingrained in me. You know, and I spent over 20, I think I added it up there a while ago, I think it was 22 years of my life. I lost through addiction. That's what I lost through addiction. I lost 22 years of living a productive life, living a life that I shouldn't have lived, you know, and I lived that way, and, you know, that escaped me. So I have a bit of, obviously, regret around the things I could have done or the places I could have been, you know, but coulda, shoulda, woulda, isn't it? But then, you know, I remember getting out of prison after the last sentence. I think it was 9.5 years I did, straight, 9.5 years to the day. I done for an armed robbery, you know. I done for that because that was what I did, you know, to find ways and means of getting drugs. And I remember getting out of prison, and I said to myself, right, this time I'm going to try and do something, just try and do something, you know, to change my life. And I met a girl, and I was still using drugs, and I ended up getting in a codependency relationship where the two of us were on drugs. And I was still on a clinic, I was still on a methadone clinic, I was still taking drugs on top of that. And she told me one day that she was having a child, you know, she was having my child. And I suppose that was the change in me. That was the change in me, you know. I just got that light bulb moment of, right, Kevin, it's not about you anymore. It's not about you anymore. You have a child coming into your life. You have to step up here. Step up and start being a man, and start being responsible, and start, I suppose, start being a positive role model in that child's life. And I did, you know. I started to engage with services. I engaged with the clinic I was on. I engaged with the doctor I was doing, and I told him, here, this is going on with me. I told him a bit about me, and not that he didn't know, he knew already, you know. And I said, I want to stop taking drugs. I want to stop taking any sort of a substance. And he just says to me, right, well, obviously you have to prove yourself that you want this. You know, you want this and you want to change. And I did, you know. Along the journey, I started to get clean, and I started to engage in the services and engage with people that could help me, you know, and I did. And I turned up, and then in time, my drug use started to lower, my behaviour started to change. I started to look at the way I was living and look at the way I was carrying on around people, and who I was following and who I wasn't. You know, who was in my life and who needed to be cut, and not to be cut, but who I needed to stay away from. And I did, you know. And in time I ended up going into a treatment centre. And, you know, I sort of found a way out. I sort of found a way out from all that chaos that was in my life, and I started to work on me. Because I needed to work on Kevin first. I needed to work on me first. So I spent a good period in a treatment centre, looking at me, looking at the way I was going on, looking at the way I was behaving, look what pain was going on. You know, look at me past. Just have a look, that's all, just have a look and see if there's anything that needs to be changed. And I did, and while I was in there, I ended up getting drug free. I ended up leaving the treatment centre, and engaging in the services that was in my life, and working with them about improving and going into a recovery house. And when I came out, I suppose the mother was still, of the child, was still in the same place. She was still in the same place, nothing had changed, so I had to step up. You know, there was a child coming into the world, and then the child came into the world, and you know, I was able to stand up and deal with being a father, deal with being a son. I started engaging my family a lot more. I started to build back up relationships with my family, build back up the relationship with myself, build up my confidence, my self-esteem, my self-worth. You know, all these things I lost in addiction, I was able to work on and build them back up. Because I got clean, because I ended up getting coming out of substance and having a chance to look at them. You know, I ended up going into a day program and engaging with them and doing more work and going to grief counsellors around my father and my son, my brother, you know, and look at the grief that was in my life as well, because I needed to deal with that as well. I couldn't deal with that while I was on drugs. I had to deal with that after, you know, and I did, you know. I suppose I put in the footwork and I had a look, and now I understand what active addiction means and what my life was and what my life is now. And in hindsight, I'm able to look back and, you know, I might have lost a lot of time, but I've gained, recovery has given me the ability to gain a lot of awareness. You know. Today, you know, I actually I'm a single father raising a child in recovery. 4 years now. The last 4 years, I haven't touched a substance. I haven't put any sort of a substance. I'm living a lot healthier. I'm living a lot cleaner. I'm nice to people. I'm courteous to people. I have manners. I have morals. I have a lot of self-worth, a whole lot more confidence because of recovery. You know, I'm able to live a productive life. I now actually work in the services. Them services that I've engaged with for years, I now actually work there. So I do support work in the services, in where I'm living. You know, you know, I get up every day and I count my blessings that I found recovery. I actually found a place where I belong now, because for so long I didn't, you know where I belonged. But now I know where I belong. And now I have purpose in my life. It's mad now. Now I'm actually saying I actually pay tax. That's just mad. I pay tax now, you know. I'm actually a productive member of society because of recovery, because I found that way, you know. And I do know I've learned from my past and I've moved on, you know, and recovery has given me that. And I'm blessed that I got that chance and that opportunity to, you know, look at myself, you know, put the drugs down, look at myself and move away from that, you know, and found that new way of living. And that's what recovery has gave me. It's gave me the chance to have a new way of living. So yeah, recovery rocks. I'll leave it at that.